スーパーレディオブラザーズ
It's time for the Super Radio Brothers. I think the one just had an accident.
Yes, the Super Radio Brothers are back. Thank you so much, Space Ghost, broadcasting from strategic locations all across the empire. It is the Super Radio Brothers. Trent, how you doing, bro?
Hey, I'm doing great. How about you? It is Thursday. It is a beautiful day. We got 1 week of baseball. You know, Rich, I know we'll get into it on the sports, but I got to tell you, man, this past week has been amazing because we've had not spring training games, but we've had real baseball games that actually count for real toward the season. They actually count toward the 162 game slate. And it's been great to watch it every single night. Just after a busy day at work, you just want to get, of course, we work from strategic locations. But, I told you every day that we work together this week that, man, I can't wait for the baseball game tonight. And you know what? We've had sports. We got the basketball. We got the NBA play-in tournament. We've got other shows that we've been watching. You've been watching Moon Knight. I can't wait to hear your review on that. But so let's just say. Oh,
and by the way, Trent, if you're listening to the podcast version of the show or you're listening right now, it's really cool because Moon Knight is available on Super Radio Brother Highlights, my new Moonlight review of episode 2, Trent. I don't know if you checked that out already, if you know how I feel about episode 2 yet, but that is out there right now.
I wanted to surprise myself because I figured you would be talking about it tonight. So I want you to hear my natural reaction of your reaction.
Well, next time, record yourself watching the video and react to the video. That's how we got to work it now.
Ooh, I like it. Record myself watching the video. Okay, that sounds like too much work. And then react to the video.
Yeah. Okay, react to the video, and then call me on the phone, and then we can talk about it all on camera. Now that's a production.
So. Yeah, okay, why not? Hey, I got a face for the camera though.
So, Moon Knight Episode 2 review available, Super Radio Brother Highlights, YouTube, check it out. Also, we'll have another review, Episode 3, which you'll get a sneak peek on that video if you're listening to this podcast here, because I will talk about it a little bit here tonight. Moon Knight Episode 3. Also, finally got a chance to check out HBO's really, really awesome timepiece, Winning Time, The Rise of the Lakers, Dynasty. I'm a big John C. Reilly fan, so I'll tell you what I'm thinking about that show so far. And yeah, man, baseball is back. Meaningful baseball games. It's there with you every single day. And that's one of the great things about baseball. You rarely get a day off from it. And that's one of the things that we love about it. So that's back. Anything else cool happening, Trent?
Our band, like we'll talk a little bit about that. Our band just ended a 5-show and 8-day stretch. Now we have a couple of weeks off to kind of recoup from that. And then we got a couple of more shows at the one at the end of this month and one at the very beginning of May. So our band has been playing. It's felt kind of good to sort of get a little normalcy back this week. I had a chance, of course, I covered a couple of local baseball games. The baseball season's starting to wrap up. So I've had a little, Rich, as you see, along with graduation, my time is starting to free up a little bit to be able to actually watch some shows and be not really a couch potato, but to kind of get reacquainted with my couch, if you will.
Oh, I thought when you said you're not going to be a couch potato, you were going to be a couch tomato or something, some kind of other vegetable.
What is a couch tomato?
I don't know. If he's not a potato, maybe something else.
you can make money off of that one. You never know.
Yeah, I'm a couch tomato. Guess what I do?
Couch tomato.
Yeah, that's news. From this hell we call Earth, it is the news. No, that's poop. That's someone just used the bathroom, Trent. That's not an actual sound effect. I don't know. That just happened.
Hopefully that was not you.
You don't realize that. Yeah, I record this show right next to the toilet, so
at least that segment you might as well.
Yeah, you don't hear it every week, but it just so happened just now someone was using the bathroom. I'm actually at a bar. I record this. That's one of my strategic locations.
Oh, there you go. Yeah, you go to the bar and you hear the sounds of beer bottles kind of opening. You hear the glasses kind of You hear him pouring.
Yeah,
You know,
I
you
can't
hear
find any
bartender.
glasses to make sound effects. Hold on.
Okay.
People are clapping. It's a bar. That's what they do.
Yay! Yeah.
We're
You're all
happy.
kind of.
We're having fun. We're outside. Great.
Yeah, we're outside having a ball. You know, especially on a Thursday night, Friday Eve. You know, a lot of people are off tomorrow with it being Good Friday before the what they call the Easter holiday.
That's
you know?
right.
So a lot of people do actually have a 3-day weekend this weekend.
Not me. Anyway.
We don't. Yeah.
There is. That's a good. I would think that we should be off Monday, Trent. What do you think?
No. We'll check with the bosses on that. No.
No, come on. There's no days off in media. You know, we got to cover
No.
the news and
Yeah. Any day you take off, you miss something.
we do a public service here, Trent. You know.
I know.
we're
Yeah,
here to serve the
absolutely.
public,
We are what they call content creators.
There you go. 100%. And speaking of content, we like to open the show with poop content, right? And what was the biggest story in poop this week, Trent? I didn't see this, but apparently in Iowa on Tuesday, a bird pooped on President Biden's beautiful blue suit. Did you hear
Oh
about
my
this?
goodness gracious!
Yeah, he.
That's a literal poop story, right?
Yeah,
there.
yeah. It's pretty amazing. He was giving a speech, believe it or not, inside of a barn in Iowa on Tuesday, and a bird pooped. And I got to tell you, I saw the video. It was a beautiful blue suit, 100%, really nice suit. Of course, he's the president. But yeah, a bird pooped on his shoulder, and he gave a 25-minute address with this poop.
With the poop on his shoulder.
Yeah, now that's a president. You know how many presidents would have failed in that moment, reacted to the poop? But good old President Biden, he was good with it. He was like, the speech, I have a very important message here today. You know, we're standing with Ukraine, the whole thing. And he wouldn't let it deter him, Trent. He wouldn't let it stop him.
Yeah, Trump, you know, he would have been like, okay, I got poop on my shoulder. I got to go clean it up.
I don't know. You know, I'm not going to take that partisan view, Trent, because I never saw Trump have a bird poop on him. So I don't know how he would react, to be fair. But
I didn't either, but okay.
But, you know, hey, maybe we'll get to find out. I hear he's going to run again in 2024, right? Is that the story?
We'll see.
So maybe he'll get another chance for a bird to poop on his presidential suit. Anyway, they do say that birds pooping on you is extremely good luck. It's a blessing, actually. Have you heard that, Trent? Is that the mythology you're familiar with?
I mean, I've heard a saying similar to that, but I don't know how true it is. But I guess it is. Okay,
it's got to be
whatever
true.
they say. It's got to be.
That's what my parents told me, so it's got to be true, right? Parents know everything.
Oh, of course.
So,
no matter what. Your parents are human too. You know?
a bird poops on you, it's good luck. Have you ever had then I'll say it like this, Trent. Have you ever had the pleasure of having a bird poop on you? Because it is a pleasure.
No, I have not. I must say, in my 23, almost 24 years of age on this earth, I have not had the pleasure, nor have I actually had the realistic opportunity of a bird pooping on me. Now, I will tell you this.
I'm so sorry, Trent. You're really missing out in life with that.
But I will tell you this. I had a bird fly on my shoulder one time. You know, he was flying and ended up landing on my shoulder and sat there for a good, 10 to 15 minutes. And then he just ended up taking off again. But that was 10 to 15 minutes is a long time. But I'm serious. He sat there for
that long?
a long. Yeah, that long.
This was a wild bird?
Just a bird, flying. No, it was actually it was a bird that my science teacher had in his class. So I mean, it was my science teacher's actual bird, but they kept the bird. He always kept the birds in cages during classes. But then at the end of class, for the last 30 minutes or so of class one day in high school, he actually, in middle school, he let the birds out, and the bird actually came on my shoulder and just sat there for a little while.
Who let the birds out? You know that song, Trent?
Yeah, it's a remake of Who Let the Dogs Out.
Oh, it's Who Let the Dogs. Oh, I'm sorry, I got it mixed up because you just said Who Let
I didn't know. Yeah.
Who
Let the Dogs? Yeah.
Do you know what kind of bird it was?
I can't remember the. Yeah, I knew, but I don't remember.
So he would let the bird out in class just to fly around.
Yeah.
Now, did he give a reason for that? Did he say, well, the bird needs some freedom, so I let him out of the cage?
Well, I mean, yeah, he did. He has in the past, but otherwise, he wanted visually impaired people to kind of get their own sense of what birds were like. So that was his main purpose for doing that.
I asked because I always wonder. I don't know if other families who had birds did this, but my parents did a thing. You know, when I was a kid, I liked to have all different types of animals. I had lizards and dogs, and I had birds at one point, some parakeets. You know, you put them in the bird cage, and my parents felt that it wasn't cool to keep them in the cage like that. So they would actually let the birds loose in the house and fly around. And then the fun part was after a while, we'd say, well, now we got to go catch the birds. And we'd have to catch them and put them back in the cage. And I always wondered, were we the only family that did something like that? You know, is that an odd activity, or does everyone who has birds let the birds out? Who let the birds out?
I mean, to each their own. I've never done that before, but hey, why not? You know, and there's nothing wrong with having several different types of animals. I like all kind of animals. You know, I used to be just a cat person, but now I like dogs. I like, you know, a lot of people are scared of snakes, but I appreciate snakes actually. So
I love all animals too. My least favorite animal are humans. So you know, is that a controversial statement?
It depends. I mean, not to me, but you know,
I like my dog more than most people I meet. Is that a bad thing to say?
No, because a dog can be like somebody's child.
Exactly, is a family member. You know,
yeah.
And that's the first thing I think every time I meet someone new, Trent. I say, "Do I like this person more than my dog?" No.
Nah. Yeah, 9 times out of 10. Nah.
Yeah.
Yeah, you know. Do I like Trent that much? Nah, not really.
Yeah, I'm like, Trent, my dog. Ooh, that's a toss-up. I don't know what to think.
Ooh, that's a toss-up. I think I like my dog better.
Oh my goodness. Yeah. So, but anyway, it's true. We used to do that when I was a kid. Just let the birds fly around the house and eventually collect them and put them back in the cage. So that's the big poop news this week, and it was presidential poop news. Very important poop news, Trent.
Oh yeah, of course. You know, hey, and one more thing about the birds. My uncle, a long time ago, he had a pet. He had a parrot actually as a pet. Believe it or not, he had it, and it would literally copy everything you said. So if my uncle was one to use profanity, so my uncle actually taught the bird several expletive words that will not be repeated here on this platform.
I really like your uncle, Trent.
Well, I did too. He was a good guy, but yeah, that was something I'll never forget. He would always, the parrot would always use expletives whenever my uncle walked in the house. He would always he would say different things, and you know, my uncle had grandkids, so the grandkids observed that. The grandkids' mother was not very happy with that, but anyway, yeah,
I'm sure she wouldn't be happy about that, but it's actually one of the greatest things I've ever heard. So,
wow, that's saying something.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. What should I teach the bird to say? And he had a good idea. That's what I said.
Yeah. So, but hey, but anyway, I got one for you to kick off the news. You already did the president story.
Yeah.
So I got one here talking about going on a date. A man calls the police officer after the date that he went on. The woman, unfortunately, would not let him leave under any circumstances. Well, a man attempted to leave the woman's house after he dropped her off from a date, and the lady asked him, or the man asked, said, "Hey, I got to go. This was fun, but I got a job in the morning I have to go to. May I please leave?" And she said no. And she kept on saying no, and she threatened to harm him tremendously if he left. So the man actually went out to the balcony, called the police officer, and after he kind of ran around the track a few times, and he called the police, and the police arrested the woman, and that was that.
How was she threatening him? Do you know? Was she going to use a gun? Did she have any weapons? What was going on there? Why couldn't he leave? I don't understand.
No, I don't understand either. But according to the article that I read, the story was about a paragraph long, and there was no mention of any weapon or anything in that story.
Wow, she's a keeper. So Trent, tell me, does it say if there's a second date coming?
It said highly unlikely. Oh. So I would go on a limb and say probably not.
I think he should give her another
that's
chance.
Not much of a limb to go out on, as a matter of fact.
She sounds like a lovely woman. He should give her another shot. That's what I think.
Oh yeah, that's how endearing.
Trent, well, a local story actually here for another story in the news, and I'm shocked. I didn't know that DEA agents get a special discount at Wendy's. Did you know that?
No, I did not know that.
A man trying to get a discount on his order at Wendy's is accused of impersonating a DEA agent, according to police in Bunnell, Florida.
Oh my god! Oh wow, that is so local, man. That's in our state.
Yeah, that's it right here in our county that we love, Flagler County. David Stover, 57-year-old David Stover, was arrested this past Monday, after police say they were called to the restaurant due to a customer arguing with staff. Officials say Stover was demanding a law enforcement discount. I wonder if it was the new hot honey chicken sandwich, Trent, after you saw the
I tried one of those last week, by the way.
Oh, did you? Did you try one of those? I wonder if Mr. Stover, though, he saw our video of the hot honey. He was like, oh, Super Radio Brothers, that looks pretty good. And he went out and he pretended to be a DEA agent.
Sir, may I get a couple of, what did you do? Like flash the badge and did they see it was fake or something? What's the deal?
Well, apparently, Trent, this guy had been doing this for 2 years. 2 years.
And he still hadn't learned his damn lesson?
Well, I guess he was getting some kind of discount, and for whatever reason, on this particular day, they decided they weren't going to honor it. Called the police. Police show up. He's not a law enforcement officer, obviously. And apparently he would flash a badge. It was one of these concealed carry badges, and it looked just like a law enforcement badge, and that's what he was using. So there you go. Interesting local story. Trent, if you were to impersonate an officer for a discounted fast food meal, where would you go?
Ooh, I wouldn't go to Wendy's. I wouldn't go to McDonald's. I would go to Popeyes. I love that chicken. I love that chicken from Popeyes. Yeah. So yeah, I love that chicken, man. I love that. Got some fried chicken. Got to have the. I don't want them to overload it with breading, but if I wanted a discount or something or any of that, I'd get the discount on like a chicken dinner with or a couple of chicken dinners with some coleslaw, and get some fries in there and get a few drinks. It was man.
So let me hear you're impersonating a cop, Trent, at Popeyes. How do you make the order? How do you go for it? Go.
Yes, welcome to Popeyes. How may I help you? Yes, sir. I just want to let you know that I am a DEA agent. I'm a certified DEA agent, and I hear that you have a discount for police officers. And then the lady would say, "Okay, sir, do you have your ID?" And I'd show it, and I'd and do all that. And next thing you know, there would probably be things happening around the scene.
Do you have to say I'm certified? Like, can you imagine if police officers show up to my door and they're like, "Excuse me, sir, yeah, I'm a certified police officer. I have a warrant for."
Yeah, I'm certified.
You see, that's why people get caught, Trent. You go there, you weren't prepared to impersonate a police officer at Popeyes. No, you would have been arrested.
I know that's why I'm saying you shouldn't do it. I wouldn't know how, I've been friends with several police officers, but knock on wood, I've never been a part of a search warrant before, and hopefully I never will. So,
we just proved to the audience, it was a great scientific experiment that you shouldn't do that. It's just you get important information here. I'm going to do one more before we get to your story here, Trent, because I'm going to stick on the fast food.
I like fast food
train here. Well, check this out. Now, let's say, do you have a Chick-fil-A near you in your town?
Do I have a Chick-fil-A near me in my town? No, actually, the closest is about. I'd say it's pretty near. I'd say it's maybe 45 minutes away. It's not that bad.
You are the perfect person to talk about this with. Then, so let me ask you this question. Now, if a sign went up in your neighborhood that said Chick-fil-A coming soon, hashtag eat more chicken, it's coming to this so-and-so road, blah, 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 would you get excited?
It's ironic you asked that, because there were, I don't know if they're up anymore, but there was talk late last year that a Chick-fil-A could be coming to my county, Highlands County, down here in the center of the state in Florida. They said that it's a not out of the realm of possibilities. Now, they didn't give a timeline. It could be several years down the line, but I've learned with those things to not necessarily get my hopes up, although I want to. And the reason I don't get my hopes up is because that could all change on a dime, unfortunately. But people in my county, we got a Wawa here a couple of years ago. We actually have two of them now, and we thought that was the best thing since sliced bread. We finally did, and the Wawas are packed, and a lot of times they're still packed to this day. I've gone into a Wawa down here about 9:00 at night to get some sweet tea and get a meal because I hadn't eaten dinner at 9:00 at night, and the Wawa was jamming just like it was 5:00 in a regular restaurant, if you know what I'm saying. But then we've also had other businesses here. We have a Five Guys that is very is not all that populated at all. It was when it first opened, and there are times where it still is, but most of the time when you go there, you only see about 4 or 5 cars parked there, and most of them are people who work there.
I think Five Guys is good, but it's pretty expensive. It's a little bit more expensive than the normal fast food.
I love their burgers, but I don't want to pay $25 for just a meal for myself. That's too much money.
It's pretty pricey. But police in Wharton, Texas, Trent, are looking for a prankster who placed a sign proclaiming a Chick-fil-A location was coming soon. But guess what? It's not. It's a lie.
Oh, no.
It's not coming soon. And the best part of this story, the reason why I brought it up, is because the police department, in a tweet, called the prank utterly heinous and heartless. So I thought that was funny.
Man, I love good Chick-fil-A. Hey, how far away do you live from a Chick-fil-A?
Me?
Yeah.
There's one right here in town on Palm Coast Parkway, maybe 5 minutes away.
Oh, dang. Okay, so you could eat Chick-fil-A anytime you wanted.
But that leads me to another question. So what fast food place or restaurant, any of these chain restaurants, anything you could think of that you don't have in town, do you wish would come soon?
I wish we had a TGI Fridays. We don't have a Fridays. We have, Outback, Chili's. We have all the fast food like Wendy's, McDonald's. We don't have a Hardee's either. I do like Hardee's, the fast food chains. The closest one to us is up in the Dundee area, up near Haines City, which is about an hour and 15 minutes away. So unfortunately, it's quite a ways there, quite a ways away from us. But to answer your question, in terms of like an actual restaurant chain, man, I love the burgers at TGI Fridays. Man, they got great burgers. They got, not only do they have good burgers, but they got good wings. They got everything too. They got like some chicken fajitas that I got there one time that were really good. So yeah, I love a good TGI Fridays. I think the closest one is either in Tampa, which is about an hour and a half away from me, close to 2 hours, or Orlando, which is about an hour and a half the other direction towards me. So.
No, there you
anyway.
Go. I would probably say Arby's. I wish there was an Arby's around here.
You guys don't have an Arby's?
Yeah, we don't have an Arby's here. And yeah, TGI Fridays would be great. A Chili. We only really have Outback here.
Really?
There's nothing else here. There's Carrabba's, and on the other side they have. We do have Texas Roadhouse now, so that's another.
Oh man, Texas Roadhouse is so good.
We have that here now, but for a long time,
so you guys
do
you guys have a Sonny's?
We do have a Sonny's. We have a Sonny's.
Okay, yeah, Sonny's barbecue. Oh man, I'm so hungry right now. I'm glad I ate dinner. But
everybody listening right now is starving. It's
yeah,
starving.
you ought to put a disclaimer on this show. Don't listen to this don't listen to the first half of this show prior to you eating, because you'll be hungry all show long.
So many people are gaining weight just listening to this show. It's awesome.
I'm gaining weight just talking about this illustrious food.
I'm actually eating right now. You just can't hear it.
Yeah.
So delicious.
Oh, so delicious. It's so good.
I'm having Sonny's.
Well, you know what's not good is, of course, you've probably flown in your life, like all of us. I have. Of course, whenever
I can't fly. The last I knew, only Superman could fly.
Really?
Yeah.
I believe I can fly.
Well, there are jetpacks. You are, of course, referring to air travel.
Of course.
Yeah, I kid.
Yeah, if I didn't have, I don't have wings. Last time I checked.
Well,
I wish
maybe one day we all will have wings. Why not?
Maybe
evolution, right?
Why not? Absolutely. But no, I'm talking about air travel. Well, an elderly man got on a plane to take a flight somewhere, and the TSA agent discovered a blade in his cane. He has a cane. He was walking up, and the TSA agent saw the blade, and he was questioned by it. And the man said he had no idea that the blade was in there. So he was questioned by Massachusetts State Police, and the man surrendered the cane and cleared to continue his travels. 2 days after the Logan Airport incident, a passenger attempted to make it through airport security with a hold on, I got to reread this. With a dagger concealed in a hairbrush, concealed.
a dagger hairbrush. That's pretty cool.
Yeah, at an airport in Texas, I believe, is where that was at. But hey, I mean, it's true. Like, whenever you use a cane, sometimes it's like, oh my gosh, I didn't know it was in there. Of course, me being visually impaired, I have to use my cane whenever I get on airplanes, and that goes through the metal detector. It always sets the metal detector off. But I mean, I've done that, but I've never had a blade stuck in my cane. I can't say that that's ever happened.
Those cane swords are pretty dope. One of my favorite characters of all time was this anti-hero from an old Japanese television show and then movies, Zatoichi the Blind Samurai. Have you ever heard of Zatoichi the Blind Samurai, Trent?
What's that?
Have you ever heard of Zatoichi the Blind Samurai?
Oh no, I have not. I've not heard of him.
One of my favorite characters growing up, and I loved the movies and the TV shows. And basically, he would just travel around Japan, get into adventures, and he was a blind masseuse, right? He would go around giving massages, but in reality, he's like this super awesome samurai dude, but he's also a degenerate gambler. So he'd go and give people massages, get money, and go gamble it. But in every movie or episode, he would show up in a town where the shogun or whoever was in charge was evil, persecuting the people, whatever. And of course, Zatoichi eventually has to help the people and fight back. And he ends up taking on their toughest samurai and killing hundreds of people by the time the show is over. And but anyway, I bring it up because he had a cane sword. So he would have the cane and use it to walk around. But then he'd chop everybody up with it. So it was super cool. Zatoichi.
Okay.
One of the greatest characters ever. Oh,
it's neat. That's like that sounds like a superhero type thing.
Yeah, he was more of like an anti-hero, I guess, but because he wasn't the perfect dude, he would go help the people and he was always on the righteous side, but he was also a degenerate gambler.
Oh yeah, no, you got to know when to hold them and know when to fold them.
Yeah, it's pretty much a Western. Those are like Westerns too. Definitely,
right.
Man. Speaking of cool things, this was pretty cool. A UK-based, as far as technology is concerned, a UK-based startup called Invisibility Shield Company has brought Harry Potter's most handy tool to reality. And no, if you're thinking about a magic wand, that's what I was thinking, but it's not that. Oddity Central, this is where the report's coming from. They're reporting that the company's technology isn't quite as perfect as the fictional character's cloak, but it's close. So basically, in Harry Potter, they have a cloak that they put over themselves, and it makes them invisible. You can't see them. Same thing with, I actually saw that in Lord of the Rings first, but whatever. It's basically a cloak. So how do they make you invisible? Apparently, this is a real thing. Well, the observer's perspective, the company says, the background light is effectively smeared horizontally across the front face of the shield over the area where the subject would ordinarily be seen. There's a lot of people talking there, Trent. Of course, they add the shield won't protect users from Dementors or Voldemort himself, but hey, they're not going to be able to see you. How about that? Isn't that cool? You can actually be invisible.
Hey, I want to be invisible. Have you ever thought about being invisible?
I can't. I don't want to be invisible. I need to be seen. I need to be heard. You need to be heard. The world to know I'm here, Trent.
I know. I can tell.
Sometimes I feel invisible, and it kills me.
I know. It's like every time I don't respond to something, you're always like, "Oh, do you think I'm here?" Yeah, I'm here.
Do you hear me?
Do you hear me?
Do you hear me?
Yeah. Do you ever have those people where they ask you a question, everything, you really don't want to respond, but then they're always like, "Hey, do you hear me?"
Yeah. I just don't listen to people, so it's.
Well, I knew that, but but anyway.
Yeah, I think invisibility would make me quite depressed, Trent.
I know. Yeah, you don't want that. Well, I got one last one here for you if you're ready for it.
I'm ready.
Whenever this UK couple went on vacation and they returned and they realized their car has been towed. A couple in the UK returned from a 2-week vacation to discover their car has been towed, impounded and crushed. It was sitting inside their home, in their garage, and the car was up to date on licensed insurance and all that kind of stuff. Thieves broke into it and left it with a smashed rear end and a rear window as well. The outside rear end of the car, like their bumper was smashed in, as well as their rear window. And according to the story, it was unclear whether the thieves got arrested or not. Hopefully they did. But that's got to be something, man. When you come back from a trip and you didn't take your car and you realize that your car will be fine. Sometimes you got to worry about starting your car if you haven't driven it for a week. You got to make sure the engine and everything is running in it. Imagine coming home to your car and seeing it crushed.
That wouldn't be good. You don't want to worry about things like that when you're on vacation.
No,
it ruins everything.
Yeah. Exactly, but hopefully nobody comes and steals your car anytime soon.
Well, that's that, and I do have one of the most stolen cars in the history of cars, a Ford Pinto. No, I'm just kidding. Anyway, how about this? This was pretty sick, Trent. A 35-year-old Florida woman was arrested Saturday on allegations of placing her 4-year-old boy in a dryer.
Ugh.
And she turned it on, and it went round and round, and she was arrested. She was arrested on a charge of aggravated child abuse after the boy was found with head, face, back, and abdomen injuries consistent with the allegations. According to the arrest report, the boy, who was often left in the care of this woman, was taken to the ER at UF Health Leesburg Hospital, where he said Miss Amber placed him in the dryer with some towels, and he spun around. The boy had swelling and bruises on his head, cheeks, ears, stomach, back. I mean, this is pretty awful stuff. So
I would charge her with any and every charge I could possibly charge her with. You talk about uncalled for. That is absolutely 100%, no question about it, uncalled for.
Well, Trent, this is Florida, and she's been sentenced to death. So there you go.
So so she got the death penalty.
Yeah, I think it's guillotine. She's gonna get the guillotine. No, that last part I made up. But hey, it should be right. What can you say?
Yeah, I mean, yeah. Don't do that. Hey, this is supposed to be. That was literal crap news. That'll make somebody angry. That story.
This is a pretty crazy story, man. This is pretty insane. This woman in California, right? She can go play lottery, and she's putting in her numbers. Somebody bumps her, which makes her push the wrong button. Actually, she's getting, those scratch-off lottery tickets. You scratch it, all that. She's trying to buy a certain scratch-off lottery ticket. The dude bumps her, and it makes her hit the wrong button on the machine, and it dispenses the wrong lotto ticket. She don't want this lotto ticket, but she paid for it, so she takes it. She scratches it, and by the way, she put $40 in the machine, so you'd be kind of upset, right? You put $40 and somebody bumps you, you get the wrong ticket. So she scratches it anyway, and guess what? She wins $10 million.
Yeah, I would say that $40 was well worth it. Number one, and number two, I would stop saying that was the wrong ticket, because that's pretty sure.
That's almost like some divine intervention type stuff.
I'd love that ticket. I'd love to have my name on that ticket. You kidding me?
Jeez, I need someone to bump into me when I never buy lotto, but maybe tomorrow I'm gonna.
Whenever you bump. I need him to bump into me, and then of course you hit the wrong button, and turns out it was the right button for her.
I'm gonna go to the supermarket tomorrow, Trent, and try to buy a ticket at one of those machines, and have someone bump into me. I'll go out of my way to step in front of someone and have them bump me. See if I could repeat the good fortune.
Yeah. Just hopefully they don't hit you too hard. That's all.
Oh well, hey, whatever it takes. That's what I'm saying. Whatever it takes, bro.
That's it.
And finally,
the
final story on this newscast, Trent. I thought this was pretty amazing, pretty incredible. A race car driver who was blinded in a racing accident 10 years earlier broke a Guinness World Record for fastest speed driving a car blindfolded.
Whoa.
So this dude, he was blinded in a car accident, so he didn't have to be blindfolded. He was blind. He drove a car at speeds of over 211 miles per hour, if you can believe that. That's pretty freaking incredible. Now, I know I wasn't able to... Trent, what's the fastest? Have you ever driven... I know you told me you drove that golf cart.
Oh yeah, I drove that golf cart, and I also believe it or not, I drove a truck before as well whenever I was young. Yeah, I drove a truck.
What was your high speed, do you think?
50 miles an hour.
Wow. Hey, that's pretty fast.
50 miles an hour. But we were on a road that nobody traveled on. Most of the roads that I were on. I was on the actual road because my granddad had to go somewhere or something, and he was like, "Okay, Trent, I'm going to sit here with you, and this is a road that nobody travels on, so I'll just tell you, you hit the gas, and I'll do the steering, and then because it was one of those seats where I was sitting in one seat, he was with the other, so he was able to access the steering wheel and everything. So so he was over there, and I was there, and he ended up steering and doing all that. But yeah, it was, I'd say about 50 miles an hour. That was about the top speed.
That's pretty fast, man. But check it out. So this guy, he breaks the record, reached the top speed of 211 miles per hour. Now, he achieved the record on the 10-year anniversary of the day he was blinded in the racing accident. And how did he do it? He used an audio guidance system to help him control the vehicle during his attempt. So some kind of guidance system, huh? Isn't that crazy?
Yeah, it's like with Bluetooth technology, or even with Wi-Fi. You could put like you could put an earpiece in your ear, and somebody could be in your ear saying, "Okay," in real time, kind of can see you, or they could be up above you, whether it be in a helicopter or something. But they could say, "Okay, go to your right, go to your left." They'd be seeing you in real time. They'd be seeing what the obstacles in front of the vehicle that you're driving. So, I mean, dude, that's crazy. That's the thing you'd see in a movie or something like that. But yeah, I mean, there have been very few times that I've driven, but yeah, I drove a golf cart, and I used to find it fun. Back in the day, whenever I did it, I had a good time.
This is the moment that incredible achievement was announced.
Today, you hit a speed of 211.043 miles per hour. It is a new Guinness World Record title. And here's your certificate. You are officially amazing. Great job. Amazing.
So there you go, man. That definitely is pretty amazing. And you got to have some guts to be going that fast, if you can see or not, honestly.
Oh, yeah.
Jeez, that's going really fast. So, amazing. And that,
hey, I'm I used to be all into the fast and stuff like that. Ain't not so much anymore. But I used to love going high rates of speed and.
Well,
and
you said you've been
stuff.
on roller coasters and stuff, right? So you get some thrill out of going fast.
Yeah, it's the thrill, it's the adrenaline rush is like none other. It's like I said, like I told you before, I can't do them as much as I used to, but I can do 2-3 at a time probably and still be doing just fine. Still probably get the thrill out of it that I did years ago.
Oh yeah, definitely. And that, my friends,
Super Radio Rundown.
That, my friends, from this hell we call Earth, is the news. Super Radio Rundown time. And speaking of going fast, Trent, you ever see any of the Fast and Furious movies?
Oh, of course.
They're up to like Fast and Furious 47 now or something like that. No, I bring it up because Fast and Furious 10 has been announced. So Furious 10, amazing. And a couple of new big-time stars. We all know about Vin Diesel. He's been a big star there. And, of course, Jason Statham and The Rock. And, a bunch of stars have passed through that franchise through the 9 movies that have come out so far. But for the next installment, Fast and Furious 10, a couple of big stars have been announced. Brie Larson and Jason Momoa, 2 superheroes, as a matter of fact. Brie Larson, Captain Marvel, Jason Momoa, Aquaman. They're both making appearances in the next Fast and Furious movie. So, and they're looking at May 19th of 2023 as a release date. Does that get the blood pumping for you, Trent, or Fast and Furious is fast and boring? Go.
I wish it was coming out this year, but hey, we gotta wait another year.
Yep, we got to wait a whole year for Brie Larson and Jason Momoa to join Vin Diesel.
Actually, about a year and a month.
Yeah. So, and who knows? It might get delayed. Everything gets delayed these days.
Oh no! Yeah. Delay. I hate that. That's profanity, man. You don't want to delay.
Yeah. So, Doctor Strange has a rating, and it's earned. Doctor Strange, I should say the full title, In the Multiverse of Madness. Big. That's the next big MCU movie coming out here. And, it's earned a PG-13 rating. That's not shocking because most of these MCU movies are PG-13 movies. But the one thing that's different about this one is that the reason they give for the PG-13 rating is for frightening images. Oh, scary.
Oh.
Yes. Apparently the frightening images part of it isn't a common occurrence in Marvel ratings. So Multiverse of Madness is set to be, and I'm hearing this a lot these days, they're saying it's the first horror film in the MCU, but I will be the judge of that, Trent, okay? And, of course, you're going to get the Super Radio Brothers highlights review on the Multiverse of Madness and a whole bunch of other cool stuff coming out here. But we'll be all over it when it comes out,
Oh, you bet. No doubt about that. We're putting out highlights. We're putting out highlights left and right now.
Oh, yeah, we're getting them out there. So I'm not shocked by the MPAA rating, but apparently this is a story because of the frightening images. So I can't wait to see how scary it truly is. Everybody's excited for Stranger Things Season 4. I'm not so excited. I was really into Season 1. I thought Season 2 wasn't that great, and then Season 3 was worse. So we'll see where they go with Season 4. But they're trying to get you interested here. The showrunners are calling Stranger Things Season 4 their Game of Thrones season. So what does that mean? I don't know, but apparently they say it's our Game of Thrones season because it has a sprawling story that takes place across different locations with various groups of characters driving forward separate narratives, all packaged together in the longest season yet. It sounds like this show, Trent. Did they get that from me? Because we broadcast from strategic locations all across the empire.
Well, you never know who listens to our show. It's on many different platforms, and people have maybe they came up with that idea after hearing you say broadcasting from strategic locations, and they say, "Yeah, let me go ahead and rip that." The world is full of rips these days.
Let's rip that off for Stranger Things Season 4 because we're out of ideas. Let's be honest here. We found something good on the Super Radio Brothers. Let's go with that idea all across the empire for Stranger Things.
Why not?
Yeah. The box office this past weekend, Morbius already slipping to number 2. Still made $57 million, which so far early post-pandemic era, that's not bad. Sonic the Hedgehog 2, which is almost certainly horrible, actually made $72 million to be number 1 over the weekend. There's no chance that movie's any good. The Lost City, number 3. Ambulance, which is that new Michael Bay action flick, looks pretty interesting. I kind of want to see that. Also, I'm a big Jake Gyllenhaal fan. I think he's a really good actor, so I kind of want to check that out. Gyllenhaal, aside from starring as Mysterio in Spider-Man 2, he did a pretty great movie a couple of years ago that I really liked called Nightcrawler, which was about the television news industry, about these freelancers that take a video camera out and just try to follow where different crimes are taking place and try to get video footage of what's going on and sell it to different news stations. So I thought that was a really good movie. That's where I really found out Jake Gyllenhaal is a pretty good actor. And so Ambulance looks pretty interesting. So I dig that for sure. Speaking of going from the box office, and of course you see the reduced numbers that they make there these days, that's because, darn it, video streaming at home is more convenient and just better. It's just better, okay?
I get it.
So this past year, a couple different streaming stats and facts. Netflix actually added 36 million new subscribers, and that's pretty incredible, with almost 16 million subscribers in the first 3 months of 2020 alone. So this is since 2020 they've added 36 million new subscribers, and 16 million in the first 3 months of 2020. If you remember, that's when the pandemic kind of began, right? So a lot of people subscribing to Netflix during the pandemic. Growth slowed in 2021, but still gaining 18 million subscribers. Disney Plus, another big winner in the realm of streaming, obviously. They launched in November 2019. Since then, it's amassed over 116 million subscribers worldwide. I mean, that's amazing. That's pretty incredible, and a lot of that has to do with obviously the Disney brand, but how huge the MCU is now, and of course, everything else Disney has to offer. So, and of course, they have
true.
Star
I mean,
Wars too.
But you know what? There's nothing like it, man. I understand people like to go and watch movies at home, but to me, there is nothing like that theater experience. You get that popcorn, you get that drink. Of course, you can buy popcorn and drink stuff at home and pay.
I have drinks at home, Trent.
I know, but I mean, like, there's something about it, like, just something about that theater experience for me.
Yeah, that's what people tell me. But hey, every time, and I've noticed this because a lot of stuff that especially during the pandemic, hey. You get the option. I can watch this streaming at home or go watch it in the theaters. I'm going to pay to stream at home. It's just more convenient. I could make popcorn in the microwave here. I've got drinks. I don't need to go sit in the movie theater and hear people talking and coughing and all of this stuff. So I don't have to waste gas, blah, blah, blah. I think the movies stink. It's an antiquated business, and pretty soon they'll go the way of the dinosaurs because streaming at home is where it's at, bro.
Bro.
And, yeah, I just think that's clearly where the industry is going now. It's going to be hard to keep theaters alive, I think. But, hey, these are the numbers that really prove that. Netflix has more than 222 million subscribers. I told you since 2019, Disney Plus already over 116 million subscribers. So that's really where the business is now, not in movie theaters. And really, I forget who. I don't know if it. Obviously, Scorsese and other big-time film makers have hated on superhero movies. They feel like it's destroying the industry. But I would argue that it's the only thing keeping movie theaters alive is movies like superhero movies and franchise movies. That's what people go out to see. That's what they're paying for. That's what's keeping these theaters alive. Without those, you can't make the art house flicks. So,
No.
There's a little give and take on everything for sure. I also got some of the most watched shows, and again, these most watched shows streaming rack up more than billions of streaming minutes, which is pretty incredible. So let's see. The most streamed original series of 2021, Lucifer, which was actually an old television show, also was a comic book as well, but I guess they started making new episodes for that, I think on Netflix. That's one of the most streamed original series. Squid Game, which was excellent. I really enjoyed Squid Game. The Great British Baking Show is apparently popular worldwide. Virginia River, all of which happen to be on Netflix, so they have the most streamed shows still. There you go. And Disney Plus, they own another record in 2019. They got 10 million subscribers all in one day. So that's the business right now, Trent. That's what people are doing. They are streaming. But, looking at those numbers this past weekend, Sonic the Hedgehog gets 72 million people to show up at theaters. That's pretty good. That shows that post-pandemic now, people are starting. They're starting to go back to the theaters. But again, look at the number 1 and 2, Sonic the Hedgehog. That's what people are going to go see. That's based on an old video game. Kids love it. They love the little blue hedgehog, whatever he is, anthropomorphic character. And of course, you got Morbius there.
What's the name? Bowser?
Well, Bowser's from Super Mario Brothers, Trent.
Oh, okay. Gotcha. Okay.
I think the bad guy in Sonic the Hedgehog is Mr. Roboto.
Mr. Roboto.
I think
That's
so.
what it is. Okay.
Played by Jim Carrey in this movie. But you have Morbius at number 2, and the Batman is still in the top 5, and to this date has made $358 million. So those franchise movies, superhero movies, that's what's keeping movie theaters alive right now, in my opinion. Any rebuttal, Trent?
Nope.
I like it when you agree with me. So.
Pew, pew, pew.
Video game news. Video game. Yeah. I think the whole world should agree with me, and it would be a much better place.
Oh, I'll laugh at that one for a while.
Can you imagine the world ruled by rich? I mean, I'm thinking prosperity, bro.
I'm running, bro.
You'll be living underground.
I'll be going underground. Bye.
Damn, no faith in the new world order.
The new world order. I like it.
I think it'd be a better place, Trent. I'll put you in my cabinet.
Oh, thank you. I appreciate that. I'd be honored. I'd be honored to do that.
But if you cross me, it'll literally be in my cabinet, if you know what I mean.
Oh, so, yeah. That just sounds terrible.
That's generally how things work, you know.
Of course.
So, anyway, video game news. Not a lot going on. Halo Infinite Season 2 launches on Tuesday, May 3rd on Xbox Series X, Xbox One, and the PC. All those elite gamers are...
the day before Cinco de Mayo.
See. It was... May 3rd is not the day before Cinco de Mayo.
Oh, I'm sorry, May 5th. Whoops.
No, I'm sorry.
The day before Star Wars Day. May the 4th be with you.
Yeah, there you
and
go.
then you got Cinco de Mayo.
Trent is like 1, 2, 3, 5, 4. I'm like, what? What happened?
What happened to 4th? Yeah, May the 4th be with you.
Apparently, in Season 2, many players will be expecting sizable changes for the better regarding the variety of Battle Pass rewards, rate of XP earnings, and more. To its credit, 343 has already worked to improve these areas and more throughout Season 1 by way of numerous patches. So Halo, all these years later, still a huge deal in the industry. Also with a television show out there right now. I forget who exactly is streaming Halo, but it's actually a pretty good show. I was never a huge fan of the game itself, but the new show is actually pretty entertaining. I'm enjoying that. Let's see. A new PlayStation 5 firmware update is available to download now. So get it because it's very important, all right? Sony's released a new firmware for a PS5 console, and unsurprisingly, it doesn't do much other than provide a standard system performance update. But you need your system to perform. So update it already. What are you waiting for? The previous PS5 firmware update was more substantial as it added several new features and tweaked the user interface. Enhancements go to game base and trophy cards. Accessibility features like mono audio for headphones were added. That's pretty cool because sometimes it's hard to concentrate on when you're talking to someone and you're hearing it through both ears. So
whenever you get stereo.
Yeah. So new firmware update doesn't include variable refresh rate support, which aims to make gameplay smoother on HDMI 2 compatible TVs and PC monitors. Sony has mentioned that feature will be coming soon. And my favorite video game news of the week is one of my favorite games of all time, Ghost of Tsushima, which was a freaking amazing game back in 2020, PlayStation 4. You play the role of Samurai Jin Saki, and you basically run around this island hacking people to death with your samurai sword. Actually, the invading Chinese, they're coming in and trying to invade Japan, so you're kind of like the defense. It's an open world game, and it's one of the greatest games I ever played, one of the greatest action games ever. And now Ghost of Tsushima is going to have a movie adaptation, so that's pretty exciting. They have their writer, and I'm looking forward to that because, hey, it doesn't have to be. I was just talking about Zatoichi, the Blind Samurai, so obviously I dig samurai flicks, but this is going to be a samurai flick based on one of the greatest video games of all time, Trent. So I don't know if you've ever heard of Ghost of Tsushima, but it's pretty special.
I'll have to go check it out.
It's I think it's great, but dare I say that? I don't want to upset somebody if they disagree with me.
It wouldn't be the first time.
It could turn into Super Radio Crybabies real quick here, bro. if you say the wrong
No.
thing. I'm just saying.
I'd rather not. I'd rather not do that.
Well, here's something we can argue about. Super Radio Brother Sports. Oh, yeah. Mentioned it at the top of the show. Baseball is back. The NBA play-in tournament. The playoffs are here. The NBA playoffs. I love it. So much going on in the world of sports. Trent, be our navigator, our pilot. Where do we go first?
Well, I think we have to go to Major League Baseball. And before I give an update on my Tampa Bay Rays, which, when they played Baltimore, I wish they could play the Baltimore Orioles every day of the year because they've won 15 straight against Baltimore or something ridiculous. They've beaten Baltimore they beat them 18-1 last year, and let me tell you, man, they're beating them again this year, and they're really playing well. So, anyway, congratulations to the Tampa Bay Rays for beating Baltimore. They had a tough series against Oakland, which we'll get into shortly, but I need to talk to you about Clayton Kershaw, Rich. Of course, Clayton Kershaw, Dodger pitcher who almost threw a perfect game back on Wednesday night, but no, his manager had to pull him out of the game because he wanted to make sure that he didn't exceed his pitch count. Well, let me tell you something about that, okay? And I know you're going to give your take on it too. And however, I did read that Clayton Kershaw said that it was kind of his choice because Dave Roberts, a manager of the Dodgers who has taken him to the World Series and, in the past, and I think has won a World Series with the Dodgers, if I'm not mistaken, basically asked Clayton Kershaw at the end of the seventh inning. He went 6 innings, okay, and went into the seventh, I should say, and threw about 75 pitches through 7 innings. Now, keep in mind that we had a 3.5 week spring training, so the pitchers are still trying to get a little stretched out. Keep in mind, Rich, let me put this in perspective though real quick to play devil's advocate with you to a certain degree. Spring training games started on March 18th for most baseball teams, okay, and we didn't even have a month of spring training prior to the season beginning. So pitchers, it's going to take them a couple of extra weeks in the regular season to kind of get fully stretched out and where they were, last year, if you know what I'm saying. Do you get what I mean?
Yeah, I got you.
Okay, but so I get that, but okay, but this is where I draw the line with that kind of comment though, because Clayton Kershaw was asked, "Can you do it?" And Kershaw said, "I think I've only got a handful of pitches in me." And Dave Roberts said, "Okay, so you're not going out for the 8th." Rich, he had not given up a hit. He had not given up a walk. The defense did not commit an error. He struck out several guys. Look, we had a perfect game going. Now, we've seen several no-hitters along the way, and we've seen a handful of perfect games, but we have not seen a perfect game in Major League Baseball in years, and we were just we were so close. We were closer than we've been in quite some time to getting a perfect game in Major League Baseball. So Dave Roberts makes the controversial decision to not put him in after he's not given up any hits, after he hasn't walked anybody, after he hasn't allowed a single base runner through 7 innings. That's stupid, man. I still can't believe it. I'm not even a Dodger fan, and I was fired up about that.
Well, I have to say this. It's everything that's wrong with the sport of baseball is represented right there in that decision. Clayton Kershaw can't go. He's pitched 75 pitches through 7 innings, 80 pitches, whatever it is, through 7 innings. You have a chance to make history. Over 100 years of baseball, this is something that's only been done 21 times. You're Clayton Kershaw, all right? You've won a World Series. You've won a Cy Young. You've been one of the you're a Hall of Famer, one of the greatest pitchers of all time, and you have a chance to make history. And you don't go out there for the 8th inning, that is a disgrace. And this idea that
at least if I were Dave Roberts, okay, I would at least start him. And if he gave up a hit, or if he got himself into a jam where he got a couple of runners on and the bases loaded, then yeah, take him out. But through those 7 innings, he had it on cruise control. So that's what I expect whenever he were to start the 8th if he had the opportunity to.
The idea that you're worried that Kershaw is going to get injured, he is going to get injured. The guy gets injured every single year. It doesn't matter how much rest you give him, how many pitches you limit him to in April and May. He'll probably be injured next week. It's ridiculous. He gets injured anyway. It's not every day that you have a chance to go after a perfect game. And it's not just for Clayton Kershaw. It's not just for the Dodgers. It's for the fans. You rob the fans of an opportunity to see history
The fans
happen.
of the game.
Exactly. And there is no game without the fans. This is why you play the game. Yes, to win championships, but also for moments like this. Moments like this are what make the sport. All right? We still look back at Don Larson pitching a perfect game, Yogi Berra throwing the glove in the air during a World Series game, right? You still see, whenever you see Nolan Ryan, images of him, it's always about his no-hitters. Right? It's always about, I think he had 7 no-hitters. You're always seeing highlights from that. If Clayton Kershaw pitches a perfect game, that immediately becomes, second to winning a World Series, the highlight of his career. And not only that, the people that were in that stadium that night, for many of them, the highlight of their life to be in the building when a legend like him, Clayton Kershaw, pitches a perfect game. You were in that, but instead you were in the building when they decided, well, now is the time to pull this BS of load management. We see it in the NBA. Now we see it in Major League Baseball. This idea of load management, the idea that Clayton Kershaw can't try to pitch a perfect game because it's April. That's a bunch of garbage. So he could try to pitch a perfect game in July, but because it's April, he can't go for it. You didn't just rob Clayton Kershaw of a chance to improve his legacy. You didn't just rob the Dodger fan of a chance at experiencing history. You robbed all baseball fans. So it's everything that's wrong with the game today. Load management in April is garbage, and there's no medical evidence out there that limiting his pitch count in April is going to prevent him from getting injured. Because he gets injured anyway. They all do. Where's Jacob deGrom right now? I don't care how much you limit these guys.
That guy cannot stay healthy, dude.
So it's a joke that because it's April, you take Clayton Kershaw out in the before he can even step on the field in the 8th after 80 freaking pitches. And what does that say about Clayton Kershaw? You had a lot of these old schoolers on Twitter. These old-time baseball players basically saying someone would have to chop my arm off to keep me off that mound in the 8th inning. There's no way that you could get me out of that game. But Kershaw willingly.
The new school of baseball, everybody's thinking, it's that people are distinguishing between the old school style of baseball and the new school style of baseball. Well, unfortunately, there has been a development of the new school style of baseball, if you will. And the new school style of baseball is starters. It doesn't seem like most of the time they don't go beyond 6th innings, especially if you're a Tampa Bay Rays starting pitcher. You're lucky to get into the 5th inning with Kevin Cash as the manager. I mean, Kevin Cash wants to, use that bullpen, burn out the bullpen. That's why you see so many that's why you see bullpen ERAs going up the way they are, is because managers want to play matchups and they want to go by the analytics, and they don't leave the starter in there for as long as they used to. I miss the days where it was consistent on a nightly basis that at minimum the starters went 7 innings. I truly do. I miss those nights.
You had a chance at one of the most historic nights in baseball history. And it's different when a legend does it. Look, it's not just any guy either. It's Clayton Kershaw going for a perfect game. That's special. And you deny the sport a chance to shine this early in the season. That's what hurts the game. That's the difference between baseball being all over the papers the next day, on the news, on Sports Center, everybody's talking about baseball the next day in the entire country because Clayton Kershaw pitched a perfect game. That's important for the sport, for the survival of the sport. And you prevented that from happening because of load management in April. It's garbage. It's gutless. It's nonsense. if you're Clayton Kershaw, to me, and look, I have not been someone who's been a big Clayton Kershaw fan over the years. The guy has great regular seasons, and he fails in the postseason. Maybe this is an example of why the big spot is too big for him sometimes. You know, the fact that he could so easily say, yeah, take me out in the 8th. I don't need the pressure of going after these last 6 more outs. You have a perfect game. Are you kidding me? You only have 80 pitches. It's a joke. It's disgusting. That's what you want to talk about, how long the games are, and we need to do this, we need to do that to make the game better for younger viewers. That's not going to kill the game. It's stuff like this that kills the game.
Yeah, I agree with you wholeheartedly. I totally understand. And now a lot of the analysts are saying, though, I have to say, a lot of the analysts are like, well, you know, because they want to make sure that the Dodgers need Clayton Kershaw if they're going to go on a World Series run. Well, they won the World Series without him, I should say, a couple of years ago. So it's not, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Clayton Kershaw is not a life or death situation for the Dodgers if they don't have him. They got so much depth on that team anyway.
Yeah, I'm with when a guy, it's just not a normal situation. I get that. You want to win the World Series, and a lot can happen during the course of a 162-game season. But when a guy like Clayton Kershaw is 6 outs away from a perfect game and he's only thrown 80 pitches, that is garbage. All that stuff has to go out of the window at that moment because you have to go for history. You have to. That's what it's about. Come on.
Oh yeah, absolutely. So, well, that was off. That was a quick little tangent there, but I had to talk. You know, that was the biggest story, not just in baseball, but in sports, leading up to the start of this program. So, moving on here to the Tampa Bay Rays, I have to talk a little bit about the Rays. The Tampa Bay ended up sweeping the Baltimore Orioles, like I mentioned at the top of the show. Yeah, I know. I'm shocked. You know, the Baltimore Orioles, you know, they lost 110 games last year. They're expected to probably lose even more this year. So Brandon Hyde's got his team in a rebuild mode, and that's where they're going to be for several years to come, I believe. With that being said, the Rays had a little bit of a tougher series against the Oakland Athletics, and the Athletics have been a thorn in the Rays' sides as of late. Rich, you look at it last year. The Rays ended up, I want to say, taking 2 out of 3 from the Miami Marlins, or maybe they dropped the first series to the Marlins. But anyway, they ended up winning the first game, and everybody was so, you know, confident about, oh my gosh, you know, the Rays are going to. It seems like the most baseball fans, they overreact several times during the season, but one of which is opening day. If you lose opening day, people are like, oh man, you know, this is going to be a long season. And then they come back and, you know, teams that lose opening day are in the playoffs. I mean, that's happened several times. But anyway, I digress. The Rays ended up losing 3 out of 4 to the Oakland Athletics, who don't have Sean Manaea anymore, who have guys like Billy McKinney, who have guys like, you know, Sean Murphy, Poche, another guy.
My dog is a huge Oakland Athletic fan, so she's very excited, and she's been waiting all week to tell you, Trent, how pumped up she is about that series.
Oh, I know. Yeah, because and the big story, the reason the Rays lost, you know, I think you know, the Thursday game today, the Rays just lost it via, you know, errors. There was a little league home run that was hit in this game by Poche. It was a kind of a ground ball, kind of base hit up the middle. Randy Arozarena attempts to cut it off in the outfield, kicks the ball over his and Kevin Kiermaier's head, and it goes all the way to the wall. And literally, you see 3 runs cross the plate to give Oakland an early 3-0 lead. Then, of course, on Monday night, you had the 3-run home run that was hit by that guy, and then of course you had Sean Murphy hit a 3-run home run. So the magic number was 3. It seemed like for the Oakland Athletics in the first inning, because they scored first in all 4 games. The only game that the Rays won in this series was a comeback in extra innings, where the Rays had a 7-4 lead, blew it in the 7th, and Wander Franco ended up getting a game-winning hit, scoring the game-winning run, I should say, in the bottom of the 10th of that night, of course. And so anyway, so the Rays they're 4-3. They're over 500 through 7 games. Now they have to go to Chicago. They got to go to frigid Chicago and take on the White Sox and the Cubs. And looking at the weather forecast, it's going to be in the 30s every night there. So they're going to be dealing with some cold weather, cold Chicago weather in April, playing baseball at a relatively cold Wrigley Field. Just real quick on the injury front for the Rays. They lost Luis Patino, one of their bulk guys, one of their starting pitchers on Monday. He threw 12 pitches against the Oakland Athletics, and he went to squat behind the mound, and, you knew something was up, and he ended up tearing his oblique, as a matter of fact, and should be he's on the 6th. What's that?
I said nothing, Trent.
Oh, okay. All right. Anyway, but I thought, the oblique. Anyway, he's on the 60-day IL right now. So that's oblique strains are no joke. You're starting to see them more. I'll never forget Evan Longoria tore his oblique several times, and he was out for 2-3 months at a time. Longoria kind of reminds me of guys like Jacob deGrom and Kershaw, in the fact that he's injured pretty much all the time. And the guy, whenever he was a Ray, and now he's on the San Francisco Giants, where he's not doing much of anything out there either. But anyway, then you have Shane Baz is still on the DL. He's coming back. He could be back sort of in June. He had like a bone issue with one of his bones, and they went in there and surgically kind of chipped it. And he's gonna, after his buildup and after he throws a couple of rehab sessions and bullpen sessions, it goes on rehab assignments. He should be ready to go. And the Rays lost another guy. JT Chagua is also on the injured list right now, dealing with some injuries. So look. We all know it all happens to every team. You're going to deal with injuries, and Kevin Cash believes it's a next man up mentality, no matter what. If you're on this roster, you're going to play at some point, and you could be up in big situations. That's just how Kevin Cash is, and that's just how the way he manages the game. You can't really argue with it after the Rays have made the postseason for the last few years and won the division the last 2 years. They're looking to be a 3-time division champion, which they've never done in franchise history. So the Rays, kind of hit a couple of bumps in the road early on, but everybody's doing that. But hopefully they can pick it up and start playing well.
Yeah, Rays started off kind of where they left off last year, dominating the Baltimore Orioles, and it is a little odd series there to lose 3 out of 4 against Oakland. They're terrible, but as John Sterling would say, Susan, that's baseball, and we're in the business of overreacting when you're talking about sports, but it's really hard to get a sense of what you're looking at this early in the season. 6-7 games in, you're in April. As far as the Yankees are concerned,
let me just pick up one more thing on that particular subject. You really won't know what your team is really made of until Memorial Day. Memorial Day is really when you get that first kind of glimpse of, okay, this is what my team is made of. And then, of course, you really know what your team has in store when the All-Star break comes around.
Oh, yeah, that's when you really start to get a sense of, well, are we going for something here? Are we going to try to make a playoff push? And but as far as the Yankees are concerned, it's pretty funny how the season started because, man, Yankees really reminds you of last year's Yankees and the year before that and the year before that. First of all, they're consistently inconsistent, which is why they're 500 after the first 6 games. They're 3-3. Recording this show Thursday night during the 4th game with the Blue Jays. But they take 2 out of 3 against the Red Sox, first series of the year. And what was one of the thorns in the side of the Yankees last year? They could never finish off a sweep, man. They'd get the first 2 wins of that series, and you knew it. Well, some kind of loss is coming here. They're not going to get the sweep because they never do. And they start the season off taking the first 2 from the Red Sox, and, of course, they don't get the sweep that Sunday night. They lose 4-3 against the Red Sox in the Sunday night game. Another thing that was reminiscent of last year in that first game, Garrett Cole giving up 3 runs in the first inning. There's your $320 million ace giving up 3 runs to the Red Sox right away, and the Yankees have to start behind in a Garrett Cole start. Shocking. So a lot of things already where you're like, man, has anything changed with the Yankees this year? And not much. And, Yankees didn't need a shortstop, so they didn't go after Carlos Correa. They didn't go after Trevor Story, any of these guys, because guess what? We're going to get Kiner Falefa. Yeah, a third base Gold Glover that we're going to get to play shortstop. Oh, and guess what? He's going to make 3 errors and go 1 for 17 in his first 6 games with the Yankees. One game of which we see Gleyber Torres at shortstop at the end of the game, where no Yankee fan wants to see that at all this year. Give me a break. So it just shows, man, this team was in desperate need of a shortstop, and they go out and sign a third baseman to play shortstop. So it just makes you scratch your head, and you're wondering what the heck is going on here with the Yankees over the years. It started a couple years ago when Manny Machado was a free agent, and everybody was pretty sure, hey, Yankees definitely going to sign Manny Machado. He's going to be a Yankee, and that didn't happen. Bryce Harper wanted to be a Yankee. Clearly would have been a better fit with the Yankees with the short porch and right than Giancarlo Stanton, but somehow the Yankees weren't interested in Bryce Harper. And then this year, with all of the players that were available, now to be fair, you didn't go out there, you didn't get Olsen, you didn't get Freeman. Rizzo's been the best player on the team the first 6 games. He's been pretty incredible. Big hits every game, it seems like. So, and Rizzo's a good player, let's be honest. But, a lot of big-time players out there that the Yankees just, they don't spend money like they used to. They just don't go for it. It's weird. It's a weird time to be a Yankee fan because you were used to, hey, you lose a wild card game against the Red Sox. Yankees going to respond here. We need a shortstop, and there's an abundance of shortstops on the market. You're going to go out there and sign it. You don't expect the Yankees to sign a third baseman to play shortstop that commits 3 errors at the position and goes 1 for 17 in the first 6 games. So Kiner Falefa, that's looking really rough here. But it's only been 6 games again. Man, I just bring it up because Yankees had a real chance to address that shortstop situation, and they just didn't do it. And Garrett Cole, terrible in that game against the Red Sox, opens up the series against the Blue Jays, and he's terrible again. I don't want to say terrible. This time he went over 5 innings, 5 1/3. Your $300 million pitcher could go 5 innings, thank goodness. But again, another 3 runs there from Garrett Cole. He's not getting the job done the first 2 starts against division rivals. And Yankees come back and they get shut out against the Blue Jays. And in that game against that Garrett Cole pitched against the Blue Jays, it was a big time game for Vladimir Guerrero Jr. Guy has 3 home runs, a double. I mean, he just killed the Yankees. And
Vlad Jr. is killing it this year to begin the season for Toronto as well. He picked up right where he left off last year, and then some. And
that was coming off of, early in that game, Guerrero got spiked on his finger. The base runner ran, he had his hand on the ground for some reason. He had to stretch out, so he had his hand there in the base path, and the runner stepped on his hand. His hand is gushing blood. The guy comes back to hit 3 home runs. It's just ridiculous. But so he single-handedly defeated the Yankees Wednesday when the Blue Jays won 6-4. And you had a moment late in that game where it's 6-4. Giancarlo Stanton comes up as a pinch hitter. Got everybody excited because, he had the swing, the launch angle, even the television camera went a certain way. You thought that ball was gone. Warning track power. So Yankees go down to Blue Jays there. Right now, scoreless on Thursday. Yankees hoping to split the series 2-2. But first 6 games, 3-3. Just a lot to remind you of last year. And, Garrett Cole needs to be better if this team's going to do anything this year. And, we'll see. But, man, oh, man, this Kiner Falefa looks awful. And you're talking about the Yankees. You had a chance to sign a big-time shortstop, and the Twins end up getting Carlos Correa, and you let the Red Sox get Story? Just and for who? For Kiner Falefa? I'm a little. We'll see how that develops, Trent. But that's a rough thing to take as a Yankee fan.
I hear you, man. And then there were a lot of guys. There were a lot of teams on the Freddie Freeman deal, one of which was the Tampa Bay Rays. The Rays had a chance to get him. They didn't. Then the Dodgers pick him up, and, they're better now than they were last year. And I don't know how they can get much better. The Dodgers are pretty dominant team.
Well, the Dodgers are what the Yankees used to be. The Dodgers are the Yankees now, and that's a frustrating thing for the Yankees as well. The Dodgers, every year, they go out there, they get that player, and they got their guy. They got Freddie Freeman. It seems like every year the Dodgers are signing a big-time player. So, and, of course, you had the other thing with Aaron Judge not signing the extension that was offered to him by the Yankees. So he's going to be a free agent come the end of the year. He's betting on himself that he's going to have a big-time year. So, look, Judge is going to get his money. I don't know if he's going to get what he's looking for. Yankees offered him 7 years, $30 million a year. He turned it down. And you've already seen him get booed a couple of times this year when he's failed in big spots. So it's going to be that kind of year for Judge. We'll see what he's able to do, how he sets himself up for the offseason. Yankees were willing to go 7 years with him. He's already in his 30s. They're not going to give him 10 years. So if there's another ball club out there looking to give Judge 10 years, he's probably going to end up somewhere else next year. We'll see.
Yeah. So,
and by the way, Trent, speaking of, I'm sorry, just one more thing with the whole Cashman thing. Okay. And you look at this shortstop mess that they're going through right now. Well, Cashman let Didi Gregorius walk when Didi came to this team to replace Derek Jeter. All right. And did way better than anybody ever could have expected. And not only did Didi play well, he became a leader in the clubhouse. He became a fan favorite Yankee. And the Yankees wouldn't pay him. Why? Because, Gleyber Torres will play shortstop next year. And the guy couldn't even play shortstop. He stinks. You have to put him at second base. So then you're in a position the next year. Well, now there are shortstops available. Let's go get one of these guys. We get Kiner Falefa. So this is going all the way back to not paying Didi Gregorius.
Oh, yeah.
I'm done, Trent. I'm sorry.
No, it's okay.
I can go on and on and on.
Hey, this has been a good. This is like Rich Carroll rant type category. This is amazing, especially. So I'm definitely loving that. You got to make a lot of valid points, like you always do. So we'll see what happens now. Like you said, the NBA play-in tournament. I just can't wait till the first round games start, man. I don't mind necessarily the play-in tournament, but I just can't wait till the actual first round series get underway. Well, that's how I feel about it.
I have to admit, the only game in the play-in tournament that was at all interesting was the Brooklyn Net game, because that's the one team out of the 8 teams playing in the play-in tournament that you figure has a legitimate shot at winning a championship. And as it is, the Nets, they're able to win that first play-in game against the Cavaliers, and they're setting themselves up with a big-time matchup with the Boston Celtics in the first round. The Celtics have had an incredible year. They're a really good team. So that sets up an amazing first-round matchup. But that's why that game was interesting, because, hey, are the this young upstart Cavalier team, are they going to come in here and beat Brooklyn and force them to play a do-or-die second play-in game? That didn't happen. Kyrie Irving was incredible in this game. Brooklyn scores 40 points in the first quarter, and they're able to hold on 115-108 over the Cavaliers to set up that first-round matchup with the Boston Celtics. The other games, not so interesting. The Timberwolves beat the Clippers, and this was a game of note because, they were pumped up. They were pumped up that they won, man. They acted like they won the NBA Finals, the World Series, and the Super Bowl all in one. You had guys on the scorers table. You had people really excited about winning this play-in game. They get the opportunity now to get an actual playoff series. But and I heard people say, well, you see in Major League Baseball, the wild card game, a team wins that game, they're going crazy. They're running on the field. They're with the champagne and everything. Well, I think there's a real simple difference when it comes to Major League Baseball and the NBA. The teams, we've seen a ton of teams, wild card teams, win the World Series. All right, so any team that gets in as a wild card in Major League Baseball has a legitimate shot at winning a championship. None of these teams in the NBA play-in have a chance except Brooklyn. And the reason Brooklyn's in the play-in tournament is because of all the injuries, to Kevin Durant, and of course the Kyrie Irving situation with the vaccine and all of that. So for a lot of the season, the Nets were missing a lot of their key guys. And let's not forget, before Durant got injured earlier this year, the Nets were actually the number 2 seed, and it all went downhill from there. So special circumstances put the Nets in that play-in tournament. So that was interesting. They have a shot. But, I mean, whether you're talking about the Cavaliers, the Hornets, the Hawks, the Spurs, the Pelicans, the Clippers, the Timberwolves, none of these teams have any chance at an NBA championship. It's just not happening. So to go crazy like that after winning a play-in game, if you're the Minnesota Timberwolves, makes you really look small market, man. It's not a good look. So I have to admit, it was less than thrilling, the play-in tournament, in my opinion.
Oh, yeah, and I'm with you. But let me ask you this about the Brooklyn Nets. Because Kyrie Irving and Kevin Durant, 2 big stars that really want the ball, they haven't really been on the court together as much, really at all this year. How do you expect them to, you can't expect them to just kind of go back into their usual form right when they get in the postseason. That's going to take a lot of adjustment for the guys to, have that same chemistry on the court that they had in the past. You can't just expect them to pick up right where they left off.
Well, Kyrie and Durant, I don't think they're going to have any chemistry issues. Those guys have played together the last couple of years. And when they're on the court, they're really good together. Don't forget, Kyrie has the experience of playing with a guy like LeBron James and winning a championship. And on the other end of it, you have Durant, who has experience playing with Russell Westbrook. He has experience playing with Steph Curry, Klay Thompson, all of those guys. So, and these are dudes that have been through wars, right? Kevin Durant's won championships. Kyrie Irving's won a championship. These are 2 players, 2 superstars that have played through NBA playoff wars. So I don't think something like that is really going to affect them. It's really going to come down to, do they have enough to beat a team as young and talented as the Boston Celtics, that is not only efficient offensively with guys like Tatum, but also one of the best defensive teams in the league. The Nets, no matter how you slice it, they're one of the worst defensive teams in basketball. They're saved by the fact that you got superstars like Irving and Durant, so you can keep up, you can score with anybody. But let's face it, they are just awful. They are terrible defensively. The Celtics, great defensively. So ultimately, and look, Irving's going to have a much tougher time of it. He was great in that play-in game, but now he's going to have Marcus Smart guarding him, one of the best perimeter defenders in the NBA. So I think it's all going to come down to Irving and Kevin Durant. Are they going to be enough against this awesome young Celtics team? We'll see.
Yeah, it definitely could see. It's interesting seeing the Cavaliers back in the postseason so we'll see how they do against the Boston team. But you know what, Rich, the NBA playoffs are a lot better this year without the Los Angeles Lakers.
I don't agree with that. I think that's a travesty. I think it would be – look, you don't know how many years you have left with a guy like LeBron James, who's one of the guys you can consider as the GOAT, one of the greatest of all time. So you have few years to see him play the game, and one of those years was just wasted by a terrible year the Lakers had. I'd love to see LeBron in the playoffs again. I'd love to see him against some of these top teams in the West right now, whether it's a Phoenix Suns team or a Dallas Mavericks team or, a Golden State Warrior rematch. We all know about the wars between the Cavs and the Warriors over the years there. So I just think LeBron in the playoffs makes them more interesting. I think it's unfortunate that the Lakers suck, but they stink. What can you say?
Oh yeah, so it's going to be definitely an interesting time in the NBA playoffs, and we'll be watching it. That's for sure. But in terms of sports for me this week, that's what it comes down to.
That's what it comes down to. Yeah, man, good stuff. Good stuff. I love sports.
It's time to sit down and unwind and listen to the Couch Report.
The Couch Report. That just put me to sleep. I feel really comfortable right now. I think I'm gonna sleep on the couch. You can.
I'm tired right now.
Trent, take over the show. If I snore, just yell at me. All right.
It could be two guys snoring because I'm tired right now too.
All right, Couch Report. What do you got going on?
Oh, well, like I said, the band finished a 5-show and 8-day stretch this past week. We ended up playing at a barbecue fest last weekend, and we played at a retirement community called Highlands Ridge to close out the 5-show and 8-day stretch. That was it's pretty neat, playing at a barbecue fest. I had some good barbecue chicken last week at from a place called James Brown's Famous Barbecue. He's a guy. A real guy, real hometown man, lives in Avon Park, Florida, which is not very far away from my town, or not very far away from where I live. So, great area. James Brown is a fantastic cook, so I had some time there, and we played a 3-hour show. We opened for another band that took the stage at Fireman's Field in Sebring, so that was a good time last Friday night. And other than that, I'm still doing the baseball games for the Avon Park Red Devils. I only have 2 more home games left, Thursday, April 21st, and Tuesday, April the 26th, and then the season will be over. So we got that's a wild time. Unfortunately, it doesn't look like the Avon Park Red Devils are going to make the playoffs. They haven't been hitting very well, and plus, the games that I went to last week, they got slaughtered by the teams that they played. So
they're not blaming you, are they, Trent? Are they saying, "Darn it, this is the new PA announcer's fault"?
Oh yeah, absolutely. They're blaming me all day. It's my fault that they lost. But now, hey, I pump them up. I try to pump them up before games. I tell them, come on, make some noise for your Avon Park Red Devils, and they start screaming to the fans and everything. So they lost to 2 county schools this past week. They lost to Lake Placid, which is on the south end of my county, and then they lost to Sebring, which is right in the middle. So we'll see what happens. Anyway, so I got that going on. Just counting down to my college graduation, Rich. We are only a few weeks away. May 10th, I will be graduating. So that's almost 3 weeks away, something like that, 3-4 weeks away. I will be walking across the stage, turning that tassel, and I will have my associate's degree, something I've been working on since 2018.
Well, congratulations to you for that. Very exciting times for Trent Ferguson, of course. Super duper cool. Anything else going on?
That's about it. Getting ready to after my schedule is, like I said, it's slowly but surely clearing. So I'll be having a lot more time to sit down on the couch and actually enjoy some TV that I used to be able to enjoy. But yeah, I'm interested in hearing your couch report. It sounds like you got a lot happening on your end.
A couple of things. I did get a chance. We mentioned Halo in the video game news, and there is a new television show out from Paramount Plus, Halo television series. And I wasn't expecting much from it, but it's actually pretty entertaining. Great action in the first episode. I like the way the story develops by the second episode. So I'm really, I'm surprised, but I'm really digging the Paramount Plus Halo television show. So I think even if you're not a fan of the video game, but you're a fan of action and sci-fi, you'll dig it. It's pretty cool. We didn't mention Moon Knight. Moon Knight Episode 2 Super Radio Brothers Highlights video review is up and available on YouTube, Facebook, all social media platforms. Check it out. Episode 3, I'll get into it real quick here. I will say that I think it's been the best outing of the series so far. We finally got the story to advance a little beyond a bumbling idiot persona of Moon Knight, because he has multiple personalities, Trent, and one of the personalities is Stephen Grant, and he just can't get anything right. He's a bit silly. He's there for the comic relief, and Mark Spector's more the assassin. So I don't like the way they've handled that whole part of the story. First 2 episodes were pretty much carbon copies, but this episode was a little better. There are still things that I don't like about it, that I think it's missing. The very nature of Moon Knight fighting crime on the streets and stuff like that. None of that is in this show. So that I haven't really, it's more of a big adventure Disney type of thing in my opinion. So, but you'll get more from me on Moon Knight Episode 3 on Super Radio Brother Highlights. Please check it out when that video drops. I've also, of course, been enjoying Star Trek Picard. I mentioned it before. I was not a huge fan of the first season, but I absolutely love the second season because it's straight up an homage to Star Trek 4, The Voyage Home, which is the original series Star Trek cast and Star Trek Part 4, which basically, at the time, I guess there was like there always is, environmental concerns and a lot of people worrying about the population of whales dwindling on the planet Earth. So in Star Trek 4, the Earth is almost destroyed in the future because there are no whales left. They died out in our century. So the Enterprise has to go back in time to collect some whales and bring them back to the future to save the planet. So Picard Season 2 is an homage because they have to go back. They go back to 2024 to save the future, and there's a lot of funny things in there that make references to Star Trek 4, and I think it's great. Everything about it is brilliant, and it's just cool to see Captain Picard being Captain Picard again. So really into that so far. My favorite thing right now is this show from Epix. It is a cool horror show, mystery. It's a road that never ends. These people are stuck in this town with no explanation. They can't get out. And every night these demonic creatures come out to kill them. But if you stay inside, they can't come inside unless you invite them in, kind of like a vampire type thing. So, but it's really good. MGM Studios, kind of like same studios, I believe, that make all the classic Universal monster movies. So it's the best thing I've seen from them in a long, long time. From is awesome. It's so good. So you should definitely check that out if you haven't already and you're into horror. And the highlight for me, well, I'll say a couple video game things first real quick. I have been playing more of the sports games lately and enjoying 2K. And
you're doing like MLB The Show?
Yeah, NBA 2K, I've played that a lot, and MLB The Show. I just got MLB The Show, so I've played a handful of games. I'm not the type of guy that can play the computer, Trent, so I always just play online. I play random people because it's more competitive, more fun. The game just feels more alive to me when you're playing another person.
It's not, the computer, it's so randomized. I don't like, whenever I played games in the past, I never like to play the computer. I like to get somebody else.
It's the computer, plus once you've played the computer long enough, it's easy to exploit some of the glitches and things in there. You get a sense for how the computer plays, but when you're always playing someone new, a different person, everybody plays different. So you adjust during the course of the game how you're going to play. I've had some success in 2K. I don't play a lot. My record right now is 18-9 in 2K, and I started playing MLB The Show, and I'm like 0-5. I really sucked at first. I couldn't get a hit barely the first 2 games. Now I'm getting hits home runs and stuff, but now my bullpen is failing me. I was the last game I played, I had a 4-3 lead in the 7th inning, and I blew it with my bullpen. So, but I'm getting closer to winning a game. Because now I'm getting hits, which is a big improvement. I just got to get my bullpen to work better at the end of the game. So I've had a lot of fun playing those games. And, man, MLB The Show on PlayStation 5 looks absolutely incredible. Holy cow. It really does look amazing. And finally, for me, on my couch report, I finally started watching the new HBO Max show, the new HBO show, Winning Time, The Rise of the Los Angeles Lakers, and starring John C. Reilly as Jerry Buss. And holy cow, this show is awesome. I absolutely love it because I love the NBA, I love basketball, and I know all about the Showtime Lakers and all that, but I don't know deep into the history of how guys got involved. I don't know much about the Buss family, so everything that he goes through to own the team and build the team up, and how at the time the NBA was looked at as a league that could go out of business at any time, and how the great Jerry West was coach of the Lakers at the time, and he was against Buss drafting Magic. There are just so many cool, basically if you're a basketball nerd like me, there's a lot of cool stuff in there that if you're not as up on the history of the Showtime Lakers like me, other than the results of the games, it's really, really cool to see. So I've been through the first 3 episodes. I think 6 have come out so far. But it's excellent. I know, right? Freya's really enjoyed it too. She's like, man, that's my favorite show right now. And it's mine too. It's hard to stop watching it, but I'm trying to pace myself because there's only 6 episodes right now.
Hey, she had to get in on the action.
She was like, yeah, John C. Reilly as Buss is freaking fantastic. But man, it's so good. So I would definitely, if you're a sports fan and you like sports-related movies and shows, Winning Time is pretty excellent. And there was controversy around this show before it even came out because apparently I think the guy's name, I forget the filmmaker's name, but he had a long career with Will Ferrell making movies, and he had promised the role of Buss to Ferrell, and then without even saying anything to Will Ferrell, gave it to John C. Reilly. And the whole thing is pretty awkward because, of course, John C. Reilly starred in multiple movies with Will Ferrell. I mean, you're talking about Step Brothers, Talladega Nights, and those guys are freaking brilliant together. I love them. But Will Ferrell says he has no problem with John C. Reilly. It's more with the fact that he was promised a role and he didn't get it. But seeing John C. Reilly in the role of Jerry Buss is he was meant for the role. It's perfect. So man, that show's good. I'm loving it. I guess I should mention too, Walking Dead is near its end, and you've had a couple of really down seasons, but I'm really enjoying this final season. I think it's been really good. And Space Force, another Netflix show in its 2nd season. I saw the first couple of episodes of that, and I think that's really good as well, starring Steve Carell. So that about does it for me, trying to keep up with all of these shows so that I can talk about them with you and review them. And again, I do promise that Moon Knight Episode 3 review will be showing up soon on Super Radio Brother Highlights, Trent.
Well, it sounds great, man. We nailed another show, and let's do it again. We're nailing them left and right, and it's time to do it again next week.
Trent, we're doing so much nailing that I think we're gonna run out of nails soon.
I know, you have to go get some more.
In the words of Bob Dylan, time is an ocean, but it ends at the shore. The Super Radio Brothers have reached the shore. See ya!
Bye, y'all.